Welcome to Nach Simanim. I am Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning Shmuel aleph, perek vav. So this perek starts. We have 7 months after the plague, where the Plishtim are like, we want to get rid of this thing completely. So they bring up all the priests, they summon them together, and they create a meeting to figure out what are we going to do with this thing that does not help us, the Aron. And they're like, okay, there's something divine going on here. We get the message. This is back to perek 4 when they took it. So they decide, okay, what we're going to do, they got 5 golden mice. They got 5 golden, basically poop-shaped things, like the poop emoji. I don't know how to better explain it, corresponding to the plague that struck them. And they put it all together as a tribute to be like, God, take this. Please don't punish us anymore. Then they put the Mishkan to be taken by 2 nursing cows, so they would be unlikely to walk far away. They take a brand new wagon, and they're going to see, okay, if this wagon goes straight towards Bnei Yisrael without going in any other direction, this is a miracle, and we are going to return it. And they set it up in a way that is unlikely for this to happen. And in the end, what happens? The cows do actually go straight to Bnei Yisrael. Okay. And it gets to Beit Shemesh, and it stops beside a large stone, and everyone is very excited. So they started offering cows as sacrifice, which at this point is allowed because the Mishkan doesn't exist, so bamos are permitted. That's a separate sugya in Zvachim. And they used the wagon to chop up wood as fuel for Beach. And the issue is men looked into the Aron, and for this disgrace of the Aron, that it wasn't treated properly, Hashem killed some people. And the survivors then sent messages to Kiryat Yerim asking to please come take the Aron, because we also don't want it. So as a recap, we have the Plishtim preparing for the golden guilt offering with getting everyone together, the miraculous journey of the cows pulling the wagon straight to Israel, and the rejoicing in Beit Shemesh, followed by a punishment for looking into the Aron. So perek vav, we use a sword, because vav is long like a sword. So, the sword herded the cows carrying the Aron to the people of Israel. So this reminds us how we have a sword herding the cows. Sword, that's our simon, and reminds us we're in perek vav, and it's herding the cows, which reminds us how the leaders of the Plishtim were like, we don't want this Aron, so they brought cows who were nursing to return the Aron back to Bnei Yisrael. And the sword leads the cows to the people of Israel, which reminds us how they get the Aron gets brought to Beit Shemesh, leading to happiness until some people don't do what they're supposed to, and it causes them to die. So one more time with the simon. The sword herded the cows carrying the Aron to the people of Israel. Sometimes God's punishment is like a sword. So it's the sword herding the cows, but it's really God that's herding the cows. Thought that I might add. Okay, now let us do a 4 perek chazar, starting with perek beis, which we use a house. The woman and the house harmonize in songs about the child. So this reminds us how after Shmuel was born, Hannah comes to the base of Mikdash, brings him there. She prays to God, and Shmuel grows up great in the house of God, in the house of Eli, but Eli's sons aren't doing good, leading to a prophecy where the house of Eli will be destroyed. So now we have perek gimel, which we use a gamal. The camel calls to Shmuel, so he woke up the Kohen to understand. Which reminds us how, as Shmuel was growing, he then eventually got to the level of prophecy. God called to him, and he didn't know what was going on. He went to Eli, the Kohen, to figure out what's going on here. And Eli after figuring out that it was God, tells him the right process to talk to God. And Shmuel gets a prophecy of the destruction of the house of Eli. So now perek dalid, we use a door. The Plishtim carry the ark on a door while trying to walk through a door to steal it. This reminds us how the Jewish people were in a war against the Plishtim. They were defeated, so they bring out the Aron, and they're defeated again. The Aron is brought out by Chofni and Pinchas. They die on the same day, which fulfills the prophecy that God gave to Eli. And the Plishtim are stealing the door because they then took it home, which gets us to perek hay, which we use a stack of hay. The ark that diseased the stack of hay gave indigestion to the town that ate it, which reminds us how the Plishtim bring the ark to Ashdod, which is their idol, which gets destroyed. Then they get plagues in all the cities they bring it, and they're like, this is really bad. So let us now do pop quiz question. So which perek do we have calling to Shmuel at night? Perek Gimel. Which perek does Hannah pray silently in the Mishkan for a child? Perek aleph. Which perek does the idol Dagon, which is the fish dude, fall and a plague strikes the Plishtim? Perek dalet. Which perek do the Plishtim capture the Aron and Eli dies? Perek dalet. Which perek do we have Shirat Chana, the song of Chana? Perek beis. Which perek do we have the cows miraculously pulling the Aron to Beit Shemesh? Perek vav. Which perek does Eli the Kohen fall backwards off his chair and die? Perek dalet. Which perek is Beit Shemesh punished for looking into the Aron? Perek vav. Here are all the answers. And that is it for today. May we be zocha to finish all of Nach, one perek at a time, and remember it day after day. Have a wonderful day.